It's going private. I don't know why it's not becoming public. Good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'd like to welcome everyone to Musallaa an-Noor's 3030 speakers. Today we are joined by Imam Imran Vohra from Scotland. And he's been involved with Dawat and tableegh from an early age. Early in the 2000s, he came to Leicester and completed a chaplaincy course. And he's worked in a variety of chaplaincies, HMP chaplaincies. He's part of the Welcome Directory, a national organization linking communities together. He's delivered straight path resettlement projects in the Midlands. And today's talk is on Yaqeen in the Kalima. Jazakallah khair, Imam Imran, and it's over to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah, brother, for the introduction. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulil kareem. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka ya ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Alhamdulillah, first and foremost, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the tawfiq, the ability, the opportunity to sit and listen to these discourses, listen to these talks, these reminders for us. First and foremost, I need to put a disclaimer out there that I'm not a scholar, I'm not an alim, unlike the other brothers, the other ulama that are on this platform and give speeches. SubhanAllah, they are people that have studied, people that have got qualifications. I do not have any sort of qualifications. So rather than this being a talk or a lecture, it's more of a discussion, muzakara, more of a reminder, because I do not have the knowledge to deliver a lecture similar to the way other ulama, other scholars are venerated ulama have the ability to do so. So this is just a reminder to us on something which is quite simple, but it is so important. And it is the bringing the yaqeen and the correct yaqeen of the kalima into our hearts. You know, one brother gave an example that if somebody was to finish their salah, like most of you have finished their asr salah, and after you finish your asr salah, you leave the masjid and you turn your phone on, or you check your phone and you notice that there are 13, 14, 15, 20 missed calls, and there are 40 messages, all from the same person. Then what will come to your mind will be that this message that I've missed, or these calls that I've been missing, are to do with something extremely, extremely important. It's a very, very important message that, or a very, very important subject or issue that I've missed these calls about. In the same way, my dear respected brothers, respected ulama and sisters listening at home, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent 124,000 Anbiya al-Islam into this world, He sent them all with one message. Each one of them had the same message. And this was the message of the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah, sorry. Each prophet came with la ilaha illallah. The second part of the kalima changed according to the messenger. But every single prophet that came with the same message of la ilaha illallah. Because Allah knew, and the prophets were sent to change the yaqeen and the belief of the hearts of mankind. They knew that when the yaqeen and the hearts, the yaqeen has become corrected, and the actions also become corrected. So every prophet came with the same message, that how the yaqeen can change from the creation to the creator. That the first and the foremost effort that is needed to be made by every single human being since Adam al-Islam till the final person is the correction of the yaqeen, to take out the yaqeen of the creation from the heart and to negate the creation, that the creation cannot do anything except by the will and the command of one Allah. That Allah is the real doer. That where we see things happening from, they're not happening from there. But the real doer is Allah. Allah is the one that decides. Allah is the one that calls the shots. Allah is the one that gives benefit. Allah is the one that gives harm. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know, he taught Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu that if the whole world was to come together to try and benefit somebody, but Allah did not wish that benefit to reach that person, that person would not get benefit. And if the whole world put together was to try and harm somebody, and that Allah did not wish harm to come to that person would not be harmed. So where we see things happening from, they're not happening from there. But the real doer is Allah. Behind every single thing is the command of Allah. One of our elders gives an example of a human body and how the human body seems to us that the eye is what sees, and the ear is what hears, and the tongue is what speaks. But in actual fact, when that person goes to sleep or that person passes away, then what happens? The eye remains, the ear remains, the tongue remains, but these things have no ability anymore. The eye cannot see anymore. What's happened? The person's fallen asleep. He can't see anymore. He can't hear anymore. He can't speak anymore. Or the ruh has left the body. The person's eyes are there, ears are there, tongue are there, but they have no ability. Why? Because the ruh has left. Even when we sleep, the ruh leaves the body. So what the Sahaba radiallahu anhum asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is the ruh? What is the soul? He said, it's a command of Allah. So only when the command of Allah is within something has that thing has got any ability. Only when the command of Allah is within the food can the food satisfy the hunger. If Allah wants, a person can keep eating, and people have illnesses nowadays where they keep eating, they don't get full. If Allah wishes, and only if Allah wishes, can the water quench the thirst. Water quenches the thirst by the hukam of Allah. The water has no ability in itself. The food has no ability in itself. And in the same way, every single thing that we see around us, everything is happening by the will and the command of one Allah. This thing has to be spoken about over and over again. So the yaqeen comes in our hearts. If we look at Sahaba radiallahu anhum, this was what their greatest quality, that they had the complete and firm yaqeen in La ilaha illallah, that Allah is the doer. We look at the battles that were fought by Sahaba, and they were fought against all odds. They were fought in conditions where the enemy's numbers were much greater. The Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud. What was it that Sahaba had that gave them victory? It was the yaqeen in Allah. They had the complete conviction that Allah's the doer. The victory comes with Allah, defeat comes by the hukam of Allah. When Musa alayhi salam was asked by Allah that what is in your hand, and he had the staff in his hand, and he narrated all the benefits of the staff. When Allah asked him what's in your hand, all of the things he spoke about were things of benefit. Allah asked him to throw the staff down, and the same staff that he considered to be beneficial became harmful. The same staff became harmful, and it became something in the form of a snake. It became a snake. Allah asked him to pick it up again. He picked it up again. It became a staff. Allah was showing Musa alayhi salam, teaching Musa alayhi salam yaqeen, that it is what I decide is harmful and what I decide is beneficial. When I wish for something that you think is beneficial to become harmful, it can become harmful. If I wish for something that is harmful to become beneficial, I can make it beneficial. The fire that Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into was something which looked to be harmful. Allah made it a place of abode of peace, made it an abode of calm, abode of rest for Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that does this. Is the most important thing that we have to work upon. The heart has to be made effort upon in such a way that all the yaqeen of all the creation comes out of the heart. That my job cannot do it, I cannot do it, my strength does not do, the government does not do, the nuclear weapons cannot do, the bombs cannot do, the ammunition cannot do, numbers cannot do, medicine cannot do, degrees cannot do. Every single thing is completely dead, completely devoid of any power whatsoever. It cannot harm me, it cannot benefit me, it cannot help me, it cannot give to me, it cannot take from me. Allah is the one that does. This yaqeen has to be made in our heart that Allah is the doer. La ilaha illallah. The sun gives light by the hukam of Allah. The sun cannot give light itself. The sun cannot give heat itself, but it gives heat, it gives warmth, it gives light by the will of Allah. If Allah wants, Allah can give light without the sun. On the day of judgment, there'll be the sun present, there'll be no light, there'll be darkness on the day of judgment. Allah wants to take the sifat, the quality of the light from the sun, Allah can do that. The job today that I depend upon, that we say this is what provides for me, Allah provides. Allah is not in need for the job to provide. If Allah wants, Allah can provide without the job. Allah is not in need of the job. Allah is not in need of the job that we go to. So Allah is the one that does. Allah provided for the people, for Yunus alayhi salam, within the stomach of the whale, within 3 dark places, Allah provided for him. Where was he working? What job did he have? Ibrahim alayhi salam's in the fire. Allah is providing for him. The youngsters that went into here in the Surah Kahf, youngsters of the cave for 309 years, who was providing for them in their sleep? Allah provided for them. So provisions come by the hukam of Allah. Allah is the one that gives provisions. And when this yaqeen comes into our hearts, my dear respected brothers and elders, then a person will look to get their needs fulfilled through amal, because the promise of Allah is with amal. And how do we make this yaqeen? Our elders tell us we sit in these gatherings of fazail, the talim of fazail. When it takes place, what is wanted is yaqeen gets made in the words of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How many times we've heard, about, for example, a person reads Surah Yaqeen, then all the needs for the day are fulfilled. When the yaqeen is made that through the hukum of Allah, through the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my needs will be fulfilled. The person will not miss reading the Surah Yaqeen in the beginning of the day, because the yaqeen will be made that Surah Yaqeen, there's more guarantee in that fulfilling my needs than if somebody gives me £500. If somebody tells me that I'll take care of your needs for today, I'll look after you today, I'll take care of you today, there's no guarantee in that. There's no guarantee in that whatsoever. The guarantee is in what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. One mufti who came into the effort of Dawat, tableegh, he tells a story that how he came into this effort through the yaqeen of one elder, one old man. He said, once I was in the wuzu khana of my darulum, and this mufti used to teach hadith, used to, mashallah, teach hadith and teach his students. And once he came into the wudu khana and he met an old man who was crying bitterly, tears on his face. He was crying. He said, uncle, what happened? Have you hurt yourself? Is everything all right? Can I help you in any way? He said, no, I'm okay. He said, please tell me what's happened. You look in distress. What's going on? So he goes, no, it's okay. He said, no, please tell me. He said, I lost my miswak. Salah time is coming and I have lost my miswak. Now that I've lost my miswak, the salah that I'm going to read now is not going to have the reward it would have had I used miswak. There's 70 times more reward. That if I use miswak and you do salah, you get 70 times more reward. His uncle was distressed because he had the yaqeen that my salah is not going to have the same, the same level of reward had I done it with miswak. This is yaqeen. One elder was in the masjid and it was night time and there was one youngster in the candle and he had a candle and he was doing calculations. So the elder asked the youngster, he says, what are you doing these calculations? He goes, I've just finished the Quran. I'm in the path of Allah. I managed to finish my Quran. And because I have yaqeen that in the path of Allah, the rewards are multiplied by so much thousands. When who goes in the path of Allah, all the rewards are multiplied by so many thousands. I'm calculating the reward that I'm getting for finishing the Quran, and I'm distributing the rewards to different members of my family. This is yaqeen. This was the yaqeen, this is the yaqeen that people have. This is the yaqeen that we have to build in our hearts as well. Sahaba radiallahu anhu had such yaqeen. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, he sat in the masjid and somebody comes to him and tells him your house is on fire. He's chilling. He's not reacting. He's not getting worried. He's not getting upset. Second person comes to him and says, your house, there's a fire in your house and it's coming near to the fire's coming near to your house. Chinese meaning, still he's relaxed. Third person come to him and he said, the fire is coming very, very close to your house. Still there's no reaction from him. And then another person comes and said, the fire came all the way to the border of your house, the boundaries of your house, and it went out. He said, I knew that would happen. Why? Because I read this dua in the beginning of the day. Dua, and because I read this dua and the promise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was that no harm will come to that person who reads this dua, I was in complete, I was completely comforted. I was in complete relaxed mode that no harm is going to come to any of my property because I read the dua. So today, my dear respected brothers, we are underestimated the power of yaqeen. Sahaba radiallahu anhum had such strength in this area that even Tamim Dari radiallahu anhu is being told by Umar radiallahu anhu that lava is coming out the volcano, push the lava back in the volcano. Because the yaqeen was in Allah, and the yaqeen in the command of Allah, he said Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and he's pushing the lava, and the lava is returning back into the volcano. This is yaqeen, that even the lava had no effect on them. Because when a person has the greatness of Allah in their hearts and the yaqeen of Allah's attributes in his hearts, he will not get affected by any worldly conditions. Doesn't matter who's in front of him, how many people are in front of him, what conditions are in front of him, the person does not get affected. Sahaba did not used to get affected. They were facing armies 3 times their number, it would not affect them. It's creation. Sahaba are taking their armies across water. They're literally walking on water, and what the Sahaba seen is only a drop. The ocean in front of them was a drop. Because why? The yaqeen was that this water cannot benefit us, they cannot harm us, cannot do anything to us unless Allah wishes. So this is the first and the foremost effort that each and every one of us has to make. Day and night effort that has to be made. Dawat needs to be given on this, that Allah does. Allah ilaha illallah. No one has any power. All the people in the world cannot benefit you. All the people in the world cannot harm you. The medicine cannot benefit you. Today we look, when we get sick, where our attention turns to. What is the first thing that we look towards? That is where our yaqeen lies today. Today, yaqeen lies in medicine, yaqeen lies in the doctors, yaqeen lies in 101, phone up the hospital, all these things. And last of all, when everything else has failed, you say, you know what, may as well do 2 rakat, maybe ask from Allah. read Surah Fatiha, do something, take honey. Halanki, the first attention turn towards how will Allah solve my problem? Because this problem has come from Allah, sickness has come from Allah, and the cure is only in the hands of Allah. Only Allah will cure. The condition that we're in today in the world, only Allah will change the condition. Asking help from the creation, it's got no benefit. The creation is itself muhtaj. The creation itself is helpless. Every single creation is helpless, to the point that even Jibreel salam is in need of Allah. He cannot do, when he went for Miraj, even he had to stop at a certain point, say, you know what, I cannot move any further. Even he is dependent upon the will of Allah. So Allah is the one that does. Where we see things happening from, they're not happening from there. Wealth does not do. Today, the talk of the town, the talk of the world is money does. Everywhere we look today, people's effort is behind amassing wealth, believing in their hearts that through money, we hear the example when we go in the path of Allah about a person that comes to the Masjid with a gold idol and gives dawat to the people about this idol and tells people that this gold idol will solve the problems and this gold idol will give people respect and this gold idol will give you peace, and nobody will accept what that person says. Nobody will be willing to entertain the talk of this person. Whereas the same person breaks the gold idol into coins, into pieces of money, then the same announcement is made. Today, this money will solve your problems. This money will give you respect. This money will give you happiness. Then everybody will say, you know what, sounds good to me. Sounds all right. So today, the Yaqeen has become corrupted, that we believe in the wealth. We believe the wealth can do for us, which is why people today earn money in a haram way. How many people today are in prison? How many people today are on the wrong path, believing as long as I get money, as long as, the ends justify the means, making money, however, not realizing that money, that wealth that comes, will only benefit them if Allah wishes. Will only benefit them if Allah wishes. And Allah in the Quran gives examples of people that had money men, people that were, that had wealth that nobody in the world today can even dream of having. Such wealth. Qarun had such wealth, Pharaoh had, yet Allah destroyed them on account of their wealth, because their wealth made them arrogant, their wealth made them proud, their wealth caused them to reject the Prophet's words. So what Allah decides to benefit us will benefit us. If Allah wishes that something harms us, the same thing which you think is beneficial could be a means of harm. How many people, when they go in the path of Allah and they realize that, the thing which I thought was benefiting me, that job that I thought was good for me, actually was stopping me from reading Salah. That job was pushing me away from Allah. Those friends that I thought were my friends actually were my enemies. The people that you thought were beneficial for you were actually harming you, were actually a means of harm for you. So this yaqeen we have to make, how? By talking about Allah's greatness. In every, daily we are told 25 times we should be talking about Allah's greatness, giving dawat to people and calling people towards the yaqeen of La ilaha illallah, that nothing in this world can do. The governments cannot do. The powers that be cannot do. The politicians cannot do. The MPs cannot do. Superpowers are no superpowers. They have no power. They have no power. The nuclear weapons, the atom bombs, nothing has any power. Only power belongs to Allah. Allah is the doer. And how will Allah do? According to the way shown by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The promise of Allah is in the way shown by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Through the amal of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is through how we gain, the help of Allah. How Allah's promises are with His amal. But first and foremost, the heart is to be emptied. Yaqeen, all the false yaqeen is to come out of the heart. Today the false yaqeen is in our heart. The yaqeen of creation is in our heart. The greatness and the azmat and the importance of the creation has contaminated our heart today, which is why today we do not recognize Allah in a day-to-day. In our salah, we struggle to get close to Allah. In our salah, we struggle to focus. Our attention is here and there. Why? Because the yaqeen is not there. The yaqeen has become weak. Sahaba had such yaqeen. One Sahabi was given some barren land and they wanted to, get water from the land. So what did they do? They didn't call the trucks and call the people and call people. 2 rakat nafil, they made dua, asked the servant to dig it from a certain place, and water came forth. Through their salah, they solved their problems because they knew the promise of Allah is with salah. The guarantees of Allah are with amal. What Allah has told us will solve your problems, will solve your problems. So this yaqeen has to be made first and foremost. Why are we told to go in the path of Allah? Why are we told to leave our homes? Because until we do not leave these environments where the yaqeen is being corrupted, our yaqeen will not be corrected. We leave these environments, we leave the comforts of our home, we leave the comforts of our family, and in the environment of the masjid, then the iman is made. If a person has a vessel, in order to fill that vessel, the vessel has to be empty. If it's already full, how are you going to put anything more in it? Same way today, the vessel of the heart is so full. with the yaqeen of the material things, with the yaqeen of the creation. So the first and the most important effort is how this heart can be emptied first. How this heart can be emptied of the false yaqeen, then the yaqeen. Why is the first word of the kalima la? Firstly, negate. Everything is negated. La ilaha illallah. That nobody does. You cannot do. I cannot do. The vehicles today, the money, the degrees, the wealth, the job. Nothing in this world does except by the will and the command of Allah. Allah is the doer. Allah is fa'alul lima yurid. The real doer is Allah. The one who decides is Allah. The one who gives, the one who takes, the one who benefits, the one who harms is Allah. The whole world together cannot harm you if Allah does not wish. The whole world tried to harm Ibrahim alayhi salam, all the people of the world, he could not get harmed. Pharaoh tried to harm Musa alayhi salam and tried to take his life before he, as a baby. Allah protected him. Allah protected Musa alayhi salam. What Allah wanted to show us, that how Allah brought up Musa alayhi salam in the house of his enemy. The same tyrant who was trying to take his life, Allah is showing us that if I wish, I could protect him and bring him up before your very eyes. What are you going to do? What can you do? The magicians of the time of Musa alayhi salam, that when they seen Musa alayhi salam's staff, Allah, by the command of Allah, turn into a snake and eat up the snakes of the magicians, the yaqeen was made to that extent in a few moments. Such yaqeen that we bring, yaqeen, and we bring iman in the Rabb of Musa alayhi salam. And even though Pharaoh threatened them, with torture and crucifixion and cutting one arm and cutting one leg, the yaqeen did not waver. The iman did not waver. And they were firm in their iman, and they're firm in their yaqeen. And they died in that state, and they met Allah in that state. So very important, my dear respected brothers, elders, sisters listening at home, we have to make effort on our yaqeen. This is why we were told, sit in the gatherings of Ta'aleem, hear about the rewards, the fazail of salah, the fazail of reading Quran. Within the Quran is shifa. Within reading Surah Fatiha, Allah has kept shifa. Needs are fulfilled through Surah Yasin. Person is cooking and worrying about the food not being enough. The promises with Surah Yasin, reading Surah Yasin allows there to be barakat in the food. A person is lost, cannot find their way, reads Surah Yasin, they will find their way. So yaqeen has to be made within amal. The more we talk about this, the more we will have this yaqeen that Allah is the one that does. And the promise of Allah is with the amal that He's given Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then the person will gain from the treasures of Allah through their salah. They will gain through salah. When a person's yaqeen is made, then even though he will see benefit, he will calculate mathematically that there's more benefit in taking interest. His yaqeen will be taking interest, is declaring war with Allah, and he will refuse to accept interest. And mathematically, by giving sadaqah, he's losing money, but Allah will give barakat in his wealth. By giving zakat, it looks like he's giving away money and his money is becoming less, but Allah promises protection of his wealth. So the yaqeen will be made that through that. Through the amal that Allah has promised, the barakat will come. Person who does Hajj will never be poor. Seems to us spending 7 grand, you're going to lose money. Yet the hadith comes that person will not experience poverty if he goes for Hajj. So this is the yaqeen that we have to make in our hearts. And for this, mashallah, we are told to go in the path of Allah, to go into the environments of deen, to spend time and talk about these things continuously. At home, we don't do this. At home, the talk is of politics and talk is of worldly things, and this money can buy you that, and that car does this, and that country does this, that country's got so much power, and they've got this much, and how like they've got nothing. They have got no ability to do anything. Allah is the one that does. So when we go in the path of Allah for 3 days, 40 days, 4 months, continuously a person talks this talk, and then he sees the yaqeen change in his heart. And then the yaqeen becomes corrected, because without the correct yaqeen, the answers will be difficult in the grave. The grave, what is the question in the grave? What is the question the man Rabbuk is about yaqeen? Who did you believe was your provider? Who did you believe took care of you? Who did you believe fulfilled your needs? Who was your Rabb? Who did you take to be your Rabb while you were in this life? Mandinuk, what was your deen? Who is this man? All the questions will be about the yaqeen that we had in this life and what lifestyle we lived and who we followed. So for this, we're encouraged. MashaAllah, it's a month of going in the path of Allah. Many Jamaats are being travelling around, alhamdulillah. It's a month in which the Sahaba also travelled. Fatah Makkah took place in the month of Ramadan, but Badr took place in the month of Ramadan. Sahaba made sacrifices in the month of Ramadan. We're also encouraged, inshallah, to spend some time in the path of Allah in this month. And if we cannot go out, the nusrat of the brothers that come out from their homes into our masjids and are doing this effort. And this is the effort that they're doing to create the yaqeen, to connect people to Allah, to prepare people for the akhirah, to change people's lives. So we're humbly requested, we also make effort. We encourage others to make effort. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to practice the people upon what has been said, inshallah, connect our yaqeen, connect ourselves to Allah, and spend the rest of these blessed days in a way that is befitting of this blessed month. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله.
Jazakallah khair, Imam Imran. Appreciate it. Just a quick recap of some of the things that you have said. It's important for us to remember about, we often look back at what the Sahaba's stories and the understanding that they did have true belief and yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so we always hear the stories of the Battle of Badr, and it's 313 versus 1,000, and subhanAllah, it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the belief of the Sahabas who allowed victory over the non-believers. You spoke about the importance of our reliance, and there is so much reliance on the dunya, so much reliance on medicine, so much reliance on everything but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's important that we're able to take the keys to our heart and give it back to a rightful owner. And inshallah, through that comes the true happiness. And inshallah, just once again, we'd like to thank you. And I pray that inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the true yaqeen in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to inshallah die uttering these beautiful words and be raised up in the best of manners. Jazakallah khair. Please remember us all in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thanks.